Hi everyone. I just wanted to share a quick energy update of what's been happening, as well as a bit of a feel into what I picked up as potentially a theme for April energies. And this won't relate to everybody, um, but it's likely to relate to at least a few that listen to this. Um, I've written things down because I don't want to drift off too much this time. I want to try and keep this as succinct as possible. We've had the big X flare on Friday, which was just before 9 o'clock in Sydney time. Then we've had multiple quite large M-class flares as well. The Schumann has been lighting up and doing quite a display, but we've also had this, what feels like another vibrational reset where the baseline shifts up a notch again. And that was like around 5 o'clock this morning, my time, Sydney time. I do feel that there is the potential for another minor geostorm probably tomorrow, but if not a storm, it's likely to be at least that rumbling that I talk about where everything goes into active status and there's the potential for it, but it's still that unsettled feeling. So yeah, we have had quite the energetic weekend already, and we do have the solar eclipse on the 8th, which I'll talk about in a minute briefly. The theme that I was given for April, now sometimes when I'm given a theme for the month, it's just a general theme, and I'm pretty much open to interpret that and explain it as I choose, I guess, which is sometimes why I have these really random ways of explaining things. But other times the message comes in quite specifically, and in this case I like to write it down and deliver it with the authenticity that I received it and not try and change it too much. So again, this may or may not relate to you. Just take what feels right with anything that I say. The theme for April is this sense of hope returning, or this feeling that of finally being able to see the light when all you could see was darkness before. And look, I can relate to this because I feel like I've been going through this really contracted state for the last week, and I'm in this, I can feel it purging physically as well. You can probably hear it in my voice and everything. A lot of crying and things like that. So there is these inner shifts happening. But the message is there's this sense of hope returning after this period of being in the darkness and struggling and really, I want to say suffering as well. That's my words. So this could apply two ways. So you may have recently been in this dark place and really struggling to find your way, and to hold on sometimes, but are now emerging from that. You're starting to see this light and feel, it's not see the light really, it's feel this light coming back into your being after this heaviness and darkness. The message that comes with this is to make sure you learn what you needed to from that time, that experience, and make sure that you can then, if you've learned everything you need to from it, you can just take what you've learned and just leave the rest of it behind completely. Or you may still be in this period of darkness or about to go into it. And I don't say that to frighten anyone. It's just part of this journey. We have these periods where we feel enormously light, and then we have these periods where we feel enormously dark. And when I just say dark, I mean lost, confused, heavy, dense. We can feel the density in our own being, and I think that's what's the most troubling sometimes for us. It's no problem overall. This is the journey that we're on, but we find it troubling. So you're potentially still in this period or may emerge into it, but to know that things are changing, even as I'm speaking these words to you. Everything is constantly changing. Think of the sand and the beach. If you go to a beach regularly, you can go multiple times during the same day and the landscape can change dramatically because it's these gradual little shifts that create this noticeable change. So everything's always in the process of change, even when it doesn't feel like it. So to know that, hold on to that knowing that it can't remain this way forever. It just can't. It really can't. So trust, let that be your light, that it is changing, even though you may not be able to sense it right now. I'm telling you that this is the message. It is, and you will sense it pretty quickly, potentially. Sometimes when we're on this conscious path and we're on this journey of healing and going within and this self-awareness, we seem to forget. It's like we're striving to this point when we feel healed, whole, all of these things. And in truth, there is no end point to this. This is the message. There is no point in this journey in which our growth, or really as a soul energy, that our growth, our healing, our inner work just suddenly stops. Creation itself is this process of constant change and evolution. There is always something within to see, and there is always an aspect of the self to learn from, is the message that I'm getting. And to really deepen or begin, if you haven't quite got there, to really trust those intuitive prompts you get. And if you're wondering what they are, they're the sudden flashes of thought, ideas that just randomly suddenly pop into your head. They're the instinctive feelings that you get in a situation or when something's happening. It's just this feeling that comes within your body. It's the instinctive emotional response. And emotions, again, not labeling them as anger and all of this, it's the emotional response as energy suddenly moving differently within your body. Your heart starts racing, your mouth goes dry, your legs might go weak, whatever it might be. These are the instinctive responses that are trying to communicate the truth of a situation to you. And to also be clear on your intentions and your priorities and your boundaries, because things are going to shift really quickly if you can lean in to embracing this process of constant change. Don't try to hold on when you feel in this expanded state, because that in itself is a form of resistance. Because with the expansion is followed by a contraction, and then another expansion and another contraction, like breathing. So it's very much about leaning into that process of that. With every breath you take creates the potential for this new light to come in, and things are going to shift very quickly for some this month, I really feel. Now with the eclipses, I don't usually talk about this sort of stuff, but I really felt guided to just offer. I'm not an astrologer by any means, but I have explored astrology quite in depth in my own curiosity, my own desire to learn and explore. So I'm not sharing this information with you as an astrologer or any kind of professional sense, more just the information that intuitively I was led to and really resonates with me about how to work with these energies. And one, I always found it difficult to remember what the difference was between the eclipses, to be honest, and how they work. So I just wanted to, I guess, share a quick difference. And then what I really resonate with in terms of working with astrology and all of that. So the solar eclipse that the lunar eclipse that we just had back on the 25th is when the Earth passes between the sun and the moon. And this blocks the moon from reflecting the sun's energy. So in essence, the moon just kind of disappears. And this will usually tie in with the full moon energy. The solar eclipse is when the moon passes between the earth and the sun. And ancient cultures used to fear the solar eclipses because to them, the moon, which was this, darker energy, the unknown, all of that sort of stuff, was eating the sun, which was the power, the life, and all of that. So they would actually get quite scared of this time. And this usually ties in with the new moon energy. Now, the way I sort of really resonate with it is that when each of us are born, these astrological energies get infused within our energy signature, part of our story. And the solar eclipse energy is kind of like your universal contract or universal destiny. It's whether it's realized or not. In return for coming here to learn the personal lessons that the soul wanted, it was like we agreed to carry this particular energy which represented an aspect of the collective unconscious that needed to be expressed at that time in order for the earth to find balance. So whenever these solar energies come around, there are going to be those on the planet that hold this as their solar eclipse energy or their sharing teaching energy. And again, this is mostly done unconsciously at the beginning and maybe for their whole life, depending on whether the person ever sort of becomes more self-aware and goes on this journey of self-exploration. But generally, this energy that you're here to share will be particularly potent if this is your eclipse. So the eclipse that is coming is in Aries. So this is not your sun sign or anything like that. This is, if your solar eclipse energy is in Aries in your natal chart, then this is going to be a time for you to shine for the next 6 months. This is when what you came to share, what you came to teach, and this is just one of the things. It's not your sole reason for coming by any means in terms of what you're here for. This is when that energy is needing to be expressed. So this is when, consciously or unconsciously, people are going to be really watching you and learning from what you're doing during this time. So it's an opportunity to do it really consciously and shine. So this is part of your gift, part of what you're here to share, to teach your fellow humans that would assist. And as you share this and the lessons learned, this then assists in the rising of the whole collective planetary consciousness. So whether you realize it or not, whether you do it consciously or unconsciously, this is your destiny path in some ways. Your lunar energy is much more personal. This is what you decided that what your soul, higher self decided was needed for that personal soul growth. The lessons that you wanted to learn, the areas that you still hurt or had not complete understanding around and therefore feel incomplete in that experience. The soul journey is very personal. And so when the lunar energies come up, if it's your particular lunar eclipse energy, that particular 6 months is potentially going to be challenging, but it also offers this huge opportunity to really accelerate your learning in that time and to really ground those lessons and principles that you wanted to come here and further explore and to understand and integrate. So the solar is kind of like it's your sun, your light. And then the lunar eclipse energy really highlights your shadow, what you still need to integrate to achieve balance in the self. So it's your individual path to evolution. Therefore, nobody else can judge how you walk it, not even you at the mental level, because all that matters was that you chose to begin this journey in the first place. That's all that counts. So let go of all the judgment. So the lunar eclipse energy was really highlighting where we don't feel in balance, where we don't feel in harmony, and all of those things. But if the lunar energy of Libra is your personal lunar energy, then it's a bit deeper. It's about learning to find balance in the whole giving, receiving energy, not giving too much, but not taking too much either. To find balance in relationships, to learn how to honor the commitments you make to yourself and others. Like it goes deeper than just the general principle that the rest of us would be kind of experiencing, if that makes sense. As you learn and integrate the things that you chose to come here and do, this then again affects the collective field. So in essence, if you are able, and I certainly haven't yet, able to master the lesson energy, the learning energy that's infused into your being and into your story, then in essence, you're sharing two gifts. You're sharing your embodied lessons and the gifts that you know that you're consciously here to share. Of course, it goes deeper depending on what house the eclipses fall in on your chart. That will further determine how it's going to be expressed. So some in relationships, some through work, things like that. So, and again, I'm not an astrologer, but I found this so interesting that I really just wanted to share this perspective. So the solar eclipse that's coming up in Aries, as a general theme, this is all about assertiveness, independence. It's about learning to have the courage to stand in our convictions. It's all the main energies that Aries represents, this new beginning, coming to a child going out in the world, learning to stand on their own 2 feet, and also embrace, not fear, this constant change energy, to see it as a new beginning, not like things are changing, it's something to be scared of. If your personal solar eclipse energy is Aries, then people are going to be looking at you. And again, consciously or unconsciously, I'm watching whether you teach this energy in a positive way, share it in a positive way. So are you self-reliant? Are you self-sufficient? Do you show others how to support themselves, to have courage? This energy, when it's really expressed in a positive way, you will have no qualms in standing up for somebody who can't stand up for themselves, but you will not stand up for somebody who refuses to stand up for themselves. And that's a huge key difference. Because if they're not willing to assert themselves, then why should you assert yourself on their behalf? If someone can't, that's a very different story. When we try to empower others through doing for them, it never works. In many ways, it just disempowers both, or it puts too much power on one person, which is not healthy. If you choose an example of teaching this lesson in a unconscious or a negative way, is that people look at you and see someone who's really hesitant, someone that procrastinates a lot of the time, makes excuses all the time, is always not ready, and therefore afraid to do anything new. So you can kind of see what I mean, hopefully, using these examples. So the solar energies are really positive. It's what people on the planet are now going to be really expressing, and again, consciously or unconsciously. So look around and pay attention this month and kind of see what's unfolding, what you're sensing. How are people around you? How are you acting? Because these themes, as I said, are general themes for us all. Like, we're all here to learn from that. But if this is your personal one, it will really be highlighted. These things are going to be really a key highlight. So anyway, I hope I've explained all of that okay and you found it interesting. Just quickly, I'm nearly at the end. The 2 group healing sessions that I'm doing during April, the vibrational healing session, which is more physically focused with all of these really intense energies, I've been strongly guided to make this session specifically focused around stabilizing the nervous system and opening and clearing the main flow channels within the body, which will also then feed out into all channels within the body. So this is coming up as being important. So yeah, the group on Saturday the 6th will be focused around just really opening, clearing the body and helping calm the nervous system and stabilize it a bit. And then the multidimensional healing group, which I think is on the 20th of April, feels very light worker oriented. The themes that we'll be working on, as well as the collective core imprints, is needing to hide that you're, and again, these are just words that express the energy theme. So like either a fraud, imposter, fake, you're basically not being your authentic self. And this, a lot of healers or those stepping into that kind of role or energy, this affects us quite strongly. I know from personal experience, especially if the awakening's been rapid and the remembering has been rapid, this sense of who am I to suddenly be this, or whatever this is for you out there. It's like the whole world's known me as this. Who's going to take me seriously as this? I don't even know if I'm a healer or whatever it is. It's that sort of energy. And also just being unable to express yourself authentically. Being weak, that I can't do this, I give up, I'm alone. And I think most of us can relate to at least some of those. So anyway, those are the groups that will be on in April. If anyone's interested, you can find details on my website. And yes, we'll see how these eclipse energies pan out. It's been such an energetically charged couple of weeks, and we're still not out of the woods yet. And I don't say that badly, but just honestly, some days I don't even know how I've got out of bed. But when you have young children, you have no choice. It's either that or wake up to a trashed house, and I'm not prepared for that either. So anyway, sending you all biggest heart hugs, and I will look forward to hopefully speaking with you again soon. Take care of yourselves, and again, follow those intuitive hits this month more than ever. And I think you're really going to notice things shift in a very positive direction for you. So trust your gut and do what you feel guided, and do it quickly. I'll talk to you soon. Biggest heart hugs. Bye.